$0 a month. That is what a 0% VA disability rating pays you, and it is still one of the best letters the VA can send you. Most veterans read that 0 as a denial, and they are wrong, because the check is not the win. The win is that the VA just agreed in writing that your condition is connected to your service. There is a door behind that 0 that the VA never volunteers, and almost everything good in this system is built on it.
I'm Emma, and let me be precise because this is the whole misread. A 0% rating is not a no, it is a yes with a 0 next to it. The yes is the service connection, and that yes is permanent on your record, while the 0 is only today's dollar figure.
Erica here, and I am going to say what every veteran is thinking. $0 sounds worthless. If the VA pays me nothing, who cares what they wrote down? Convince me this paper is worth anything at all.
Hi all, Grace. And that is exactly the trap. The veteran who shrugs at the 0 throws away the foundation. Because that paper locks your effective date, it puts you in the VA system for that condition, and every future increase climbs from this rung. The 0 is the cheapest seat in the building, but you are inside the building.
And here is the honest other side, said up front. There is no monthly money yet, and we are not going to pretend there is. A 0% rating does not pay a check, and it does not unlock the benefits that need a compensable rating. We will draw that line clearly today.
Good, because that is where most channels lie to you. They sell a 0 as a jackpot. It is not a check. What it is a locked door turned into an open one, and that is worth understanding before you ever wave it off.
And there is one more piece almost nobody knows. There is a special add-on the VA never advertises that can pay real money even on a 0% rating for the right kind of loss. Hold that, because it surprises people.
A viewer asked the exact question that frames this whole episode. Emma, read it out word for word.
Here it is, exactly as written. I got a 0% rating and $0. Did I just waste my time? Or is this thing actually worth something?
You did not waste your time, and by the end you will know precisely what that 0 is worth. So let us start with what a 0% rating actually locks in.
Let me lay out what a 0% rating actually gives you, in order, because the value is in the structure, not the dollar. First and biggest, the VA has formally conceded service connection. Your condition is now, on the record, linked to your service. Second, your effective date is locked. The date you filed this claim is now the anchor. When you later file for an increase and it is granted, the back pay can reach toward this date, not the day you finally got around to it. That lock is worth real money down the line.
And that is the strategic point most veterans miss. The hardest thing to win in this whole system is the service connection itself, the link between the condition and the service. Once the VA has granted that, even at 0, you never have to win it again. You only have to prove the condition got worse.
Counterpoint, and then I will concede. People hear cost-free care and think free everything, but it is not. At 0%, you get cost-free VA care for that service-connected condition specifically. It is narrower than full free healthcare, and I want that stated plainly so nobody is surprised at the desk.
That is correct, and it is the honest framing. Care for the connected condition at no cost is the benefit at 0. Full priority group placement and broader cost-free care come with a compensable rating. A 10 or 20% veteran, for example, sits in priority group 3.
And here is the move 2 steps ahead. Once a condition is service-connected, other conditions caused by it can attach as secondaries. Your knee is connected at 0, and years later your back goes because you favored that knee. That back claim now has a service-connected parent to hang from, so the 0 is the hook the rest of the case hangs on.
So let me put the two columns side by side on the board because the gap is the whole lesson. What a 0% rating actually wins you versus what it does not unlock yet. Look at how much sits in the one column even with a zero next to the dollar.
And seeing it like that actually flips my position. The left column is the expensive stuff, the stuff that is hard to win. The right column is the stuff that flips on the day your rating goes compensable. You already paid the hard price, so the zero is the receipt for it.
That is the reframe exactly. The hard column is already yours. So now the question becomes whether that zero can ever pay anything before your rating climbs. And the surprising answer is yes, in one specific case. Let us go there, real quick, because this next part matters to you. If any of this is helping, tap that like button, then hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next one finds you. Both are free and take about a second, but they tell the algorithm to show this to one more person who needs it.
Here is the piece that makes people sit up. A 0% rating can still pay you a monthly check in one specific situation through a benefit called special monthly compensation. Emma, set up exactly what that is before we put numbers on it.
Special monthly compensation, the SMC-K level, is an add-on for a specific qualifying loss, the loss or loss of use of a particular body part or function. It is not a general top-up, but here is the key. It stacks on top of any rating, from 0% all the way to 100%.
Wait, so even a veteran sitting at $0 can collect this? That breaks the whole zero equals nothing story I walked in with.
Exactly, and let me put the real numbers on the board so it is concrete. In 2026, SMC-K is $139.87 a month. Start the math at a 0% base, which is $0.
Now add the SMC-K layer on top, $139.87 added to that zero base. And because it stacks rather than replacing anything, the veteran who was being paid nothing is suddenly being paid that amount every single month.
So the total is $139.87 a month on a rating the VA labels as zero. That is real, recurring, tax-free money arriving on a rating most veterans assume pays nothing at all.
And here is the honest fence around it, because I am not going to oversell this either. This only applies if you actually have the qualifying loss, and most 0% veterans will not. It is not a trick to turn any zero into a check. It is a real benefit that a specific group of 0% veterans is sitting on and never claimed.
Which is the strategist's point exactly. Do not assume your zero pays nothing. If you have a qualifying loss of use, that zero is quietly worth almost $140 a month, every month, that you have to claim to receive. Check it before you waive the rating off.
And it is a clean illustration of the bigger rule of this episode. The zero is a label on the rating, not a verdict on your benefits. Things stack on top of a zero. The rating number and the money you can collect are simply not the same thing.
So the zero is not even always $0. But for most veterans, the real money comes from one move, turning that zero into a compensable rating. That is the move that pays, and it deserves its own chapter. Let us walk it.
For most veterans, here is the move that actually turns the zero into a check. You file for an increased rating, and you do it from a position almost nobody appreciates. You are not starting over, you are already inside.
And that is the strategic advantage stated cleanly. The hardest fight, proving the condition is connected to your service, is already won and on the record. To get paid, you no longer argue whether it counts, you only have to show that it has gotten worse than zero. Mechanically, the increase runs on VA Form 21526EZ, the same application family used for the original claim. You file the increase, you point to current evidence, and you ask the VA to re-evaluate the severity. The condition is the same. The question is now only how bad it is today.
Erica, you have been sitting on something through all of this. The floor is yours, put it to her.
Yes, and it is the part where I see people stall. What actually moves a zero up? A veteran cannot just say it feels worse, so what does the VA want to see before that number climbs?
Current, dated evidence that the condition is more severe than when it was rated 0, updated treatment records, a recent exam, and where it helps, a nexus statement, the doctor's note tying today's severity to that same service-connected condition. The VA is matching your evidence to its rating criteria, so the evidence has to speak in their terms.
And here is where the locked effective date earns its keep. Because the service connection has stood since you're 0, a granted increase does not just pay forward, it can reach back. The earlier your foundation is dated, the more back pay a later increase can carry. The 0 you ignored is quietly protecting your money.
And the VA puts this exact move right on its own site, which is the honest answer to anyone who thinks it is hidden. The page to file a disability claim, including an increase, is right there with the button to start it.
So the practical sequence is short. Confirm your service connection is on the record, which a 0 already gives you. Then gather current evidence that the condition is worse and file the increase on the 21/5/26 EZ. The rating climbs, and the day it becomes compensable is the day the check and the rest of the benefits switch on.
And the cost of skipping it is the quiet one. A veteran who sits on a 0 never files the increase and never gathers the evidence, simply collects 0 forever while the condition that earned the rating keeps getting worse. The door is open. Walking through it is on you.
So the move is real and it is reachable. Which brings us to the honest question some veterans are still asking. If a 0 pays nothing today and an increase is work, is the rating even worth keeping at all? Let us put that on the table directly. Let us settle this one out in the open because it is the real question under the whole episode. A 0% rating pays nothing today and chasing an increase is genuine work. So is the rating even worth keeping at all? Erica, make the case against, and Grace, defend keeping it. Then I will land it.
I will take the cold version first because it deserves a fair hearing. A veteran who is fine today, whose condition is mild and stable, gets a 0, gets no check, and may never file an increase. For that person, on paper, the rating sits there doing nothing they can spend. That is a real argument, and I am not going to wave it away.
And yet even there, the rating is doing something the veteran cannot see. It is holding the service connection and the effective date in place, for free, with no expiration. The cost of keeping it is 0, while the cost of ever having to win that connection again, from scratch, years later, is enormous. You are holding a paid-up option.
Push that further, Grace, because the timeline is where this argument lives.
Think about what conditions do over time. They rarely get better. The veteran who is fine at 0 today is often the veteran filing an increase in 5 years. If the service connection lapsed, that future claim starts from nothing. But with the 0, it starts from 1. That is why I would never let 1 go.
All right, then take my strongest counter head on. What about the veteran who genuinely never gets worse, never files, never uses the care? Did the 0 do anything for that person, honestly?
Honestly, even then it did. It cost that veteran nothing to hold, and it left the door open for free in case life changed. A benefit that costs nothing and can only ever help you is not a burden you weigh, it is one you keep. The downside of holding a 0 is by the numbers 0.
And there is the asymmetry that decides it. Keeping the 0 risks nothing, while giving it up risks everything you would need later. The connection, the date, the secondaries, the SMC if it ever applies. When one side of the bet is 0 risk and the other can cost you years of back pay, there is no real debate. So here is the verdict, and it is not close. A 0% rating is worth keeping, every time. Its entire value is the locked service connection and effective date you would otherwise have to win all over again at no cost to hold. Keep the 0 and treat it as a foundation you build on, not a check you cash. That is the sourced, honest answer.
And you have actually moved me all the way. I came in calling 0 worthless. The cold case is real for the rare, stable veteran, but the asymmetry buries it. Keeping it costs nothing and protects everything, so fine, the zero stays.
So here is the reframe, said plainly. A 0% rating is a foundation, not a dead end. The dollar today is zero, but the thing you actually won, the service connection, is the hardest and most valuable piece in the entire system.
And the one column is the expensive column. Service connection is locked, your effective date is anchored. You have cost-free care for that condition, and a documented baseline to file an increase from. None of that has a price tag on a zero, and all of it is yours. So the strategist's verdict is one line. Treat the zero as the foundation it is. File the increase on the 21/5/26 when the condition is worse. Check SMC-K if you have a qualifying loss. And never ever give the rating up. The whole future of the claim is built on this rung.
And the skeptic's half, just as honest. There is no check today, and we did not pretend there was. A zero does not pay you, does not waive the funding fee, and does not unlock the compensable benefits. What it does is hold the door open at no cost, so do not confuse a quiet benefit for a worthless one.
And remember the surprise in the middle. The zero is not even always $0. A qualifying loss can stack SMC-K on top of it, almost $140 a month, on a rating most veterans assume pays nothing. The label is not the verdict.
And that is the thread through all of it. The rating number and the money you can collect are simply different things. A zero with a locked connection is worth more than a number that pays nothing should ever be, because of everything that builds on it.
If you forget every detail today, keep this one. A 0% rating is the VA agreeing in writing that you are connected. That single yes is the foundation every future dollar stands on. Michael, take us out and put the question to them.
Here is what I want you sitting with, and drop it in the comments. If you have a 0% rating right now, are you treating it as a dead end or as the locked foundation it really is, with an increase or an SMC claim you have not filed yet? Here is the one thing to carry out of today. A 0% rating pays $0, and it is still a win because the VA agreed in writing that your condition is connected to your service. That service connection is the hardest piece to win, and it is now permanently yours.
My favorite part is the one column. Service connection, a locked effective date, cost-free care for the condition, and a baseline to file an increase from. Not one of those has a price tag on a zero, and all of them are the expensive, hard-won pieces.
And the thing I came around on is the honesty. No check today, no funding fee waiver yet, and we said so. But a benefit that costs nothing to keep and can only help you later is one you hold, not one you wave off.
My move for you this week. If you are at zero, do two things. Check whether a qualifying loss makes you eligible for SMC-K, and if your condition is worse than when it was rated, start the increase on VA Form 21/5/26 The foundation is poured, build on it. And if this helped, like the video and subscribe so we can keep building this VA series out for you.
Quickly before we wrap, a small ask that actually matters. If this earned it, tap like and hit subscribe. Every one of those helps build the series so more people who need this can find it. Hands-on, notes messy, code mostly compiling. That is the path. Take care.
Michael, that was genuinely useful content delivered genuinely well. 9 out of 10. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.